Good evening. Welcome to Speaking in Your Basement. So we've been speaking about getting in touch with that place of imagination, right? Encouraging dreams. And again, Blair Warren's book, The One Sentence Persuasion Course, which I got reminded of as I was reading Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. And that One Sentence Persuasion Course, there's 5 big things he mentions in there that you can do to get people to absolutely love you, right? Too dramatically, and if that's a little too much, you can just say to be powerfully persuasive with people. And the first one is to encourage their dreams. And in order to really encourage someone's dreams, I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, you got this, or I believe in you, or something to that effect. That's valuable, particularly when delivered at the right time, when someone's in a rough spot and they're not sort of thing, keep going. That might be valuable, assuming there's some kind of relationship there already. There's absolutely some benefit to that. When you're really wanting to move people, when you might not have the relationship in place already, then it requires a little more of that. A little more than that. You have to go deeper, and typically to do that, you've got to connect with that place within yourself. So usually you can't guide somebody to a place you haven't been or don't frequently go yourself. So you've got to be able to encourage your own dreams, which means you got to get back in touch with your dreamer. You got to get back in touch with the vision of your life. You got to get back in touch with that place where possibility is really there. The possibility is a realistic thing for you. What could come out of this? What potential do I have? How far can you take this? One way to continue doing that, just initially, you want to connect with that space and think, and sometimes you might want to brainstorm. You might want to just sit there and brainstorm and consider it. What are you working on? What do you really want to be working on? What could come of that? How far could you take it? How interesting could that experience be? There's always ups and downs, and it's cool to get to a place where you either got a lot of money or you're in way better shape, you got a great relationship. That's great. It's great to get those ends. But how cool is the journey to that going to be? How interesting is the learning going to be? How much of a different person will you have to become by taking the steps one after the other in order to get there? And how cool is that going to be? So when you're taking those little steps, you're doing your daily workout, or you're practicing your speaking, or you're doing whatever else it is you do to work your way towards that bigger goal, that bigger vision, reconnect with a piece of that. You could reconnect with the big piece, like this is a little piece of ultimately my $1 million or my world-class body or whatever else it is. But you could think of just how far you could go today. Could I challenge myself a little bit with this workout? How interesting would that be if I pushed a little further than I'd gone thus far? Doesn't have to be a lot. Now, of course, if you're doing workouts, you know your body better than I do, so you know how far you can push, or at least you got a way better idea than I do. But that's part of the challenge. You want to push, and pushing entails a little bit of risk. Now, I'd be cautious how much risk. But if there's no risk, there's no growth, there's no change. So you got to be willing to take some risk, and there's excitement built into risk. How exciting could today's workout be if you pushed a little further? How interesting could the speaking you do today, your daily practice of speaking, be if you switched it up a little bit, if you added a little something different, if you spoke a little bit longer than you normally do? If you're used to reading informational, you read a little fiction, or vice versa. How much more interesting can you make this if you really had a vision of where you could go? And when you connect with that vision and come back to the practice, how much more interesting does the practice become? How much more clearly can you begin to see this as you step outside of what you're normally used to? So again, encouraging dreams. I'm going to do my best to encourage your dreams here. I'm assuming you're dreaming something along the lines of getting much better communication. But whatever they are, you can get there. And even if you don't get there, you can have a profound journey, a very enjoyable trip, and get amazing things, even if you don't get the big dream. I believe I've already told you about the wanting to be a kickboxer, and I was never a kickboxer, but I got in much better shape, and I trained in karate for years, and there's still things that have nothing to do with martial arts that I learned while training in karate that I carry with me to this day. It was well worth it. So when you really get to that place where you encourage your dreams, there's no telling how far you can go. But even if you don't get the big ultimate goal, the journey is profound. And the things that you will achieve are profound. And the things you pick up, the things you pick up along the way are absolutely amazing. I'm Ben Langley. Thanks very much for spending some time with me tonight. We will talk again soon. Oh, didn't quite.